Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Getting women is not a science. It is not a science. I have to be the one to tell y'all, because you know what, one of the things I do is, when I'm getting ideas for videos, I go to my inspiration part on my YouTube studio. And it'll show me what else is popular out there and everything. And I see quite a few videos talking about the science, or if you say these words to women, you can get them 99% of the time. And I'm like, please stop the bullshit. And it is some bullshit. Look, use some common sense. If it was a science, everybody would use it. Like I always remember this one guy said, well, what can I say to women to make them want to sleep with me? I was like, there is no magic word. I wish there was. Shit. Look, use some common sense. First of all, if there was some science to getting women, then we wouldn't have videos like this. We wouldn't have any problems. And shoot, even for some women watching, there ain't no science to getting men. Now, at best, there's an art to it. Like they use the term, the art of seduction. You notice they didn't use the science of seduction. And you get some scientists trying to use this and that, but if it worked like that, if it was a science, it would work every single time. The thing about science is you can repeat that experiment. That's the key. If you do a science experiment, it is science once you can repeat it every single time. Water is going to boil at a certain temperature. Water is going to freeze at a certain temperature. You can put a number on it and everything. It ain't no science. You can't do that if you're a man trying to get a woman. You can do something with one woman, it might work, but then you do it with the next 16 women, and they just going to look at you. They just like, wait a minute, this ain't working. This ain't working. And really all you played just then was just a numbers game. Yes, you get what, 1 out of 17 women? Shoot, that's just a numbers game. She just happened to like you. She just happened to like you. Psychologically, you appeal to her, She's just a particular woman who like you. Shoot. Whatever you got worked for her. Whatever you got. But that ain't a science. Because look, think about a science. If it was a science and they say, okay, this is science, this gonna work every single time, men would do it. Men would do it every single time. Men would get every single woman because they would just repeat the science. It is not a science. I wish it was. I wish it was. I'd be doing shit. I'd be writing my science fiction novels or something like that. I'd be doing something totally different. You wouldn't have relationship issues. Shoot, you wouldn't have divorces. You wouldn't have men out here complaining. They would just use the science. It's an art. And it's different for every single man. For one man, he might have to, the art might be using his height. The other man might be using his body build. The other man might be using his face. The other man, he might be using his personality. Yet another man might be using his clothes. Even then, he still got to find which women like it. Even men who are very successful at getting women, it's more of an art than a science. Because if it's a science, it works every single time. Any man, very, very few men can say it works with every single woman. Even some players. Because remember what I said a few weeks ago about my book, Nice Guys and Players. One of the things I said in it, are you a man who can get every woman except the one you want? Now, if there was a science, that man would get that woman too. He wouldn't need to pick it up. That's why the main reason players were buying my books, because they couldn't get the one they wanted. But if it was a science, they would be able to do so. I want y'all to think about that. What it is an art. You got to figure it out. You got to figure out, okay, you got to figure out what works for you. It was like, okay, if I have this haircut, this body build, wear my clothes a certain way, carry myself this way, okay, this helps me out. I get more acceptances than rejections. Okay, but that's still an art. And shoot, and really, most men ain't gonna figure that out really good. The average man ain't gonna figure that out good until his 30s, if he's gonna figure it out at all. Because if it was a science, then you would just give those men who having trouble with women, you say, hold up, this the science, you can get the woman. But like I said, you get those videos and stuff talking about, oh, you can get 99% of women this way. But if you do exactly what they say, have you got 99%? Why you got so many guys out here single? If it was a science, no, it's an art. And it's an art, everybody got to figure out what works for them, you know? Even what I say, what I talk about, the main thing, body game. How many times have I said, body game, you got to figure out your best body, what gets the most attention for you. And that's something I don't know. For some guys, it might be being on the slimmer side. For some guys, it might be being on the more bigger side. Even the type of clothes you wear. Some guys, they might need to wear like a certain style of clothes, and they're going to get attention. Another guy might need to wear another style of clothing. It depends. And see, part of the problem is, it's not a science because all women aren't the same. All women, you got one woman, shoot, she gonna like that guy who might be tatted up head to toe. But yet another woman might, shoot, she see one tattoo, she's like, oh no. It's all going to be different. Don't think of it as a science. You gotta think about, okay, how can I perfect my art? How can I perfect my art of getting women? You know, what works for me? Oh, these shoes work. Oh, okay, let me wear this style of shoes. These clothes work. Let me wear this style of clothes. This haircut works. Let me wear this style of haircut. This beard game works for me. But this beard game doesn't work for me. Oh, okay, let me keep myself clean shaven. You know, this muscle, this body build works for me. But this body build doesn't. Let me have this particular body build. You gotta find what works for you. And that's more an art than a science. And that's something, shoot, you practicing that all the time. Shoot, even if you're talking about colognes and stuff, that's still an art. Because some women might not like a particular cologne. And then some women might like a particular thing. They might smell one thing and they might be like, you know, and that's still the few that want you. But then some other women smell the same thing. They're like, ooh, you know, you got to think about that. If it was a science, it'd just be one cologne. Think about it. If it was one science, if it was a science to that, say, oh, well, women like this. This is proven through experiments and everything. And it was like, no, you can experiment all you want. They still gonna like different things. Even when some guys, some scientists have tried some experiments, the women are still like different things. You gotta remember that, all right? So anyway, that's all I have for right now. I want y'all to really think about that and perfect your art, all right? So anyway, I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.